Hello and welcome to another episode of History with Andy Ackright. I'm Andy Ackright. Today I am at the streets, East 63rd Street and Euclid Avenue in Kansas City, Missouri at the Daniel Morgan Boone Park. Now this is not the Daniel Boone that you're probably thinking of, but it is one of his sons. Daniel Boone had 10 children, 6 sons. This Daniel Morgan Boone is one of his sons, and he's important to this part of town. Let's find out why. See, this park doesn't have your playground equipment or anything like that. But Daniel Morgan Boone learned from his father the hunting, trapping, exploring skills, and he also had that passion for exploring the wilderness. And so his father sent him up to Upper Louisiana, because at that time we hadn't had the Louisiana Purchase. So the land belonged to Spain. And that land would later become Missouri. So Daniel Morgan Boone comes up and he talks with a second lieutenant in the Spanish government. And the second lieutenant is very happy to have him and gives him land, which is now around Matson, Missouri. So he gives him land, which Daniel Morgan Boone would then build a double log house on and supervise the building of a fort so settlers could feel comfortable. Well, there were settlers because the Spanish said, hey, if you come and you bring people back with you, we will give them land. So they went and they brought back and they got them land in St. Charles County, around there. Now we have the Louisiana Purchase, America coming over, and they want a surveyor. So they want somebody to go out and map the surroundings. Well, hey, who is that? Daniel Morgan Boone. Daniel Morgan Boone, surveyor for the United States government, hunter, trapper, and he owned a salt lick. That's right, a saltwater spring. Okay, a saltwater spring that he and his brother Nathan owned together, and they would have people boil it until they got salt. Now, salt was important because up until then it had to be imported from overseas, and salt they used to preserve their meats and to tan hides. Okay, so it was very important, and it was a good business for them. Now, the road that they made between Matson or St. Charles and Franklin became the route for people to get to the center of Missouri. Now, the center of Missouri is Franklin, and people used it a lot as a jumping off point for the Santa Fe Trail and a stopping point along the way where they knew they were in the middle. Now, he wasn't satisfied there. He had to move on. So in 1826, he moved to Jackson County. And why is this park significant? Why is it named Daniel Morgan Boone? Because Daniel Morgan Boone is buried here, as is his wife, Sarah Griffin Lewis. Together they had reportedly at least 12 children. At least 12 children. Okay, so he comes up to Jackson County and he's here. And he actually was one of the first settlers of Kansas as well. He settled around what is now Lawrence, and the government hired him as an agriculturist to teach the Native Americans how to farm. Okay, so he's a surveyor, he's a farmer, he's all this stuff. He was in charge of a division of the Missouri Rangers. He was in the militia, and in 1812, the War of 1812, he was a spy and he patrolled the frontier. Okay, he was a man of many talents. He came back to Jackson County in 1831 and he bought up a large plot of land and built a log house at what is now about 63rd and Holmes. So 63rd and Holmes. He lived there and lived on this farm until he sold part of it to his nephew Boone Hayes. So we have Boone Hayes along with the Boones. Now this is a cemetery. There are 32 graves here. 9 of them are Boones, 4 of them are Hayes. All spread out throughout this land here. Because this was the land owned by Daniel Morgan Boone. So they buried him at the top of a hill. So Daniel Morgan Boone, son of the more famous Daniel Boone, was an agriculturist, a surveyor, a hunter, a trapper, owned a salt lick, opened the road to the Santa Fe Trail, had at least 12 children, and established ties that came from the Spanish to join Missouri. He is, in my opinion, a big deal. Daniel Morgan Boone, Captain, Missouri Militia, War of 1812, December 23rd, 1769 to June 13th, 1839, 70 years old. This has been another episode of History with Andy Ackright. I hope you join me next time.